The Becerras are a Woodlawn family. Miguel is in 4th grade. Alexander is in 2nd. Axel's only 2, but he'll go there one day. When Mom Jessica first enrolled Miguel 5 years ago, Woodlawn's reputation wasn't great. It was deemed a failing school by the state.
I was afraid at the beginning, but they have a program that it goes like a transition program for the summer for the first time in kindergarten, and Miguel loved it, and I see how they treat my kid, and I say, yes, this is the school for him.
The woman running the transition program at the time, Mary Evans.
She's like she's like a angel for us. Like, she helped us in any situation.
When the family saved enough money to move out of Jessica's mom's home and into their own place, they had nothing. They called Mary.
I said, Jessica, let's go to the community warehouse. This is a place that you can get furniture and beds and everything you need for your family, and they do not charge you.
So she helped us to find everything.
Like everything?
Everything, like the mattress, a bed for Miguel, the couches, pens, forks, everything.
Now, Mary's entire job is to help Woodlawn families with whatever they need.
What does she do?
It's a great question. Mary does everything.
Her boss, Principal Andrea Porter Lopez, is not exaggerating.
I'm calling from Woodlawn School on behalf
Yeah, right now the phone calls that I am working on are helping with a family to avoid eviction. I am helping a family secure housing that has received money through a domestic violence grant. I am helping a family keep their water turned on.
But most of her work occurs out of the office.
We're shopping for 3 third graders. They're all different families.
When kids at Woodlawn don't have clothes, she gets grant money from the state and goes shopping for kids.
So our first stop is going to be the girls' clothes. Those look great. So this will give her 3 pairs of pants, and that will fit her.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a winner.
And when she goes over the $100 limit per kid at the register, she pays the difference out of her own pocket.
The fact that I have this amazing privilege of doing this for kids that I love. I treat these kids like they are my children. It's an honor that parents let me do this for them.
So make sure you get all chicken ones.
Oh, okay.
Mary's also in charge of backpacks for kids at Woodlawn, a program where bags of food are given to kids on Fridays so they can eat on the weekends. She lets the 5th grade girls drop off the bags each week.
We're just helping these kids out because these kids are like my family to me, and I like helping them. Some people don't have food, but they're still making it in this world, and that's why it's important for Miss Mary to do her job and stuff like that, yeah.
And in all of her spare time,
What's your aunt's name?
Miranda Brown.
Oh, she's probably home with that baby, huh?
she runs a food pantry out of the Woodlawn cafeteria for anyone who needs food. This is every Wednesday.
You come on through. Tell me how many people are in your household, and let's make sure that you get the food that your family will eat. That's how we run here.
We just knew we needed a link between families and school, especially when it came to needs beyond what happens during the school day.
Andrea had to fill this position when she came to Woodlawn 5 years ago. At the time, the school had more than $1 million through a federal school improvement grant, which funded Mary's job.
In that first year, I was making sure water did not get turned off on a Friday afternoon. I helped families in that first year making ends meet with their rent.
Just as gentrification has changed almost everything at Woodlawn,
There's such a high need for resources. And
it's changed Mary's position too.
My role has shifted. Needs of families have shifted. Families still need help paying rent, and they still need help keeping utilities turned on. But what changes is they don't live in our neighborhood now. They live in the numbers, or they live in Vancouver. I do outreach in counties that I've never looked into before, but if our families live there and that's where they need help, that's where I'm going to look for that assistance.
More than half the families at Woodlawn can't afford to live in the neighborhood. So they've moved to neighborhoods they can afford and drive their kids to Woodlawn.
I am a firm believer that Portland is a city that replaces Black people with Black Lives Matter signs. It is so true in the neighborhoods that are being gentrified. Because Portland has shifted, prices have increased to live. Housing prices have increased. Even little neighborhood restaurants, prices have increased. And so families whose jobs have not changed and whose incomes haven't increased are being pushed out. They have to live somewhere where they can support their family.
She said the most stark example of this, a Woodlawn family who used to live right next door to the school, couldn't afford rent and moved. The home was sold and bulldozed.
I'll never forget pulling out of the Woodlawn parking lot and seeing the kids that I knew that lived in a house sitting on the sidewalk in front of where their house once stood, with a for sale sign still sitting on that lot. There's not even a house built there. And just seeing the kids sit there, and that was their home. It makes me so emotional. That was their home, and there's nothing there. You know, it's so sad that kids that are 6 and 7 get pushed out of their home, and they have no control. It is so sad.
Woodlawn is no longer a failing school or receiving that federal school improvement grant money. They do receive Title I funding, federal money given to schools with high numbers of students living in poverty. Mary's job is funded through that Title I money. But the numbers are changing. Last year, 73% of kids were on free and reduced lunch at Woodlawn. This year, it's 69%.
It's quite possible that we'll lose positions like Mary's. What we do each year when we find out what our staffing will be is prioritize what we need to help kids and families be successful. And right now, her position rises to the top.
When the neighborhood continues to gentrify and the needs become different, it will eventually, I believe, make my position evaporate.
Both women agree less need is a good thing. But statistics and numbers don't always tell the whole story. They worry about families struggling to make it.
It makes me sad for the families that will fall between the cracks and still need help.
In the meantime, she'll keep helping families who need it. Last month, the Becerras were hit with a surprise eviction notice over noise complaints from the tenant living underneath them. Jessica said many of the so-called violations were when the boys were at school or the family wasn't home.
I start crying. I'm like, what I'm gonna do now? Like, I don't have the money to pay for the deposit and to move. It made me cry. Sorry, and I told my husband, like, this is it. Like, why? Why me? Like, I don't do nothing bad in here. I barely come home.
One of her first calls was Mary.
Yeah, she's begging them, like calling every single day, and I follow up with them and say, like, what's happening with Jessica's case? Like, are you guys able to help her?
Mary contacted the apartment complex and legal aid. And when the family was finally forced to move, Mary helped find them money for a deposit.
Where would your family be without Miss Mary?
Probably under the bridge, because she helped us so much. She helped us so much with food, with the resources in the community, by finding a place.
I'm so grateful that they are not under a bridge, because she has 3 great little boys that need a home to live in and feel safe and secure, so they can then come to school each day and be a learner.